that if you have a really narrow mind and you're like, oh, that's bad, not this, not that, you're going to shut that down. You're going to shut down so much of your personal power. And that's the personal power that we need. That is our true wealth that we need to be generating.
Hello and welcome to the Business of Happiness podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Tarryn MacCarthy, and today is going to be such a great day. We have with us one of my good friends, Shannon Blackmon, a certified financial planner who is just so special. I cannot wait for you to meet her again. Shannon's making a return to the Business of Happiness podcast. And you know what I just love about her is she really empowers audiences to release old money mindsets that are no longer serving them and expand their money mindsets. And today, on today's episode, she's going to be sharing with us a little bit about what financial therapy is. Ooh, that's got a great ring to it. Welcome to the show, Shannon.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me here again. I'm so pleased to be here with you.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I can't wait. And let's just get started right off by telling us a little bit about what is financial therapy. I love that term. I was so excited when I heard you say that. But what is financial therapy and how is that different from financial planning, which you are an expert in?
Right. So I'm a certified financial planner and a registered life planner. And I'm also a certified financial therapist. And it's like, what does that mean? People have been asking me over the weekend, what does that mean? What do you do? And how is that different? And so traditional financial planning is, investment management, retirement planning, budgeting, debt management. It's really focused on the numbers.
Okay.
And what financial therapy does is it admits that, hey, we are not just rational robots going around. There's something more than just the numbers when it comes to our money. And we have emotions, we have our mindset matters, and all those things affect our behavior around money. So financial therapy embraces the whole person and looks more deeply beyond the numbers to what is important about you. What are your motivations here?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's
And
so cool because if you think about it, the first thing that comes to mind is we think that money itself has value that's specific to the numbers, but we can think of so many times in our lives where a specific number has very different meaning. Like $100 pair of shoes is very different from $100 toothbrush or $100 eyeliner, and it's so interesting because even that concept of $100 takes on a different flavor at different stages in our life. $100 meant something different when I was 12 from when I was 29 to now, or even different seasons in our growth and development. $100 can have a very different meaning.
Right. Yeah, because money itself doesn't actually have a value. It doesn't have a value in itself, except what we place on it.
Yeah.
And like you say, that can shift over time as our values change and as our life cycle changes. Because what money means to someone at a younger age is much different than it means to someone when they have just a little time left. And we see that change in people, where people that are older tend to value experiences and time more than material objects. And we can learn a lot from older people when it comes to what really makes us happy. I really appreciate that about older people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I know. I think the same thing of younger people. We can learn so much
Right?
from younger people
That's
around
true.
happiness and
Yeah,
value and what really matters. Yeah.
spontaneity and play. And yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really cool. So what
Mhm.
drew you to financial therapy? How did you find yourself in that world?
Well, it came through my personal journey actually, because I approached financial planning a little bit from a scarcity mindset. And actually the economic system is built on scarcity and, supply and demand, and there's not being enough. And I became really unhappy in myself. And I started to see, well, what's really wrong? And I was missing the inner prosperity that needs to mirror to have outer prosperity. And so I started to look within when it came to that. And I started with a course called The Art of Money by Barry Tesler, where she really talks about, your inner experience of what wealth means to you. And continued on my journey. I got very involved with George Kinder's Institute of Life Planning and became a life planner myself. And he really talks about it as a journey, a money journey and a journey to maturity around money. And I thought that was really important to me. And so
Mm.
as I did this inner work around it, I started to notice certain things about my clients because I work with clients with, $500,000 to, tens of millions of dollars. And notice that it's not about that dollar amount. It's not about the dollar amount that gives you happiness and well-being. It's a mindset. And I started to investigate what that mindset is that really creates inner and outer abundance. Yeah.
Really
And what
cool.
I found is that, like I said, with the older people, valuing experiences, um, people that value relationships and experiences over things are more happy. And it's not just my clients, it's also the studies have shown that people even anticipating an experience is more thrilling than anticipating a material object. And so that's one of the things that I found is that makes people happy when it comes to their financial well-being.
Wow, that's really cool. So how do you incorporate that then in if you have a client who really is stuck with their money mindset and living in that space of scarcity, as you said,
Mm.
how do you support them to be able to access these kind of softer skills that can really have much greater impact on their happiness?
Right. Well, some of it is, and you would think that I would be able to just say, look, you have $10 million. You're never going to run out of money. Everything's fine. But that's not enough if someone is, if it's never enough if someone feels like they're not enough, you know? So that's something that I like to go in and really uncover the money scripts that they grew up with because we all have these ideas around money, these beliefs that we've inherited from our society and our parents, and that's become part of the meaning around money, but it really isn't ours. And so sometimes I can talk with people and uncover what makes money important to them, and you can change what that is. You can change that meaning and take more power in your life. So a lot of times people who have grown up in poverty is a trauma. So people who have grown up in poverty react to it in certain ways. And one of the ways is to, with that scarcity mindset, accumulate a lot of money. But with that scarcity mindset, they don't really get to enjoy it. And so that's where the pain comes in. And so that's something that you can uncover what that script is and work with it because words are so powerful. So you can work with that script and turn it around so it becomes a positive affirmation that people can live by.
Oh, that's really cool. Um, I'm so fascinated by this concept of understanding the deeper beliefs, subconscious beliefs we have around money. And I know that you work very closely, or you enjoy working closely with women. Are there some shared subconscious beliefs that women tend to have as opposed to men, like a more feminine person has around money than men do?
Yes, definitely. So, women, just by being women, we have different concerns. One is that we live longer than men do. So, we have a longer time horizon to plan for. Within that time horizon, we have, a woman has at least 9 lives, right? Because we have different shifts as far as like we have motherhood, more career changes, a lot of times more time out of the workforce due to caregiving either for children or for older parents, aging parents. So we have some different challenges to work with. Also, women, we tend to collaborate. So we might be in relationships, relationships matter a lot to us. So how we relate to money with our children, with our spouse, with other
Ah,
family members. And
yes.
so those are emotional things that we need to plan for. When I sit down with a man and we do his financial planning, it's more cut and dry, right? It's like from A to B. But when I sit down with a woman, she might have and I'm not saying that men aren't this way, but a woman, for instance, might have a special needs child that she wants to take care of for, throughout his lifetime, something like that, where there's more caregiving to consider in the financial plan. Women sometimes can also, um, you know, maybe take care of children for too long, right?
Mm.
And then women also have to go through divorce sometimes, or widowhood sometimes, and that can be a huge financial upset in those cases.
Hey guys, I'm interrupting your podcast episode to let you know about an incredible new program that I'm launching in January of 2023. It is specifically for practitioners in medicine and dentistry to help you rediscover happiness and inner fulfillment within your profession and your life. I remember what it was like for me when years ago I was so depressed and anxious and feeling like I had created and built a treadmill I just couldn't get off of, pushing through every day and wishing my life away. This program is the how of how to find happiness in your practice and in your life. Because we know that when we feel good, that's when we can do good. Check out thebizofhappiness.com/radical happiness or click the link in the show notes. I cannot wait to see you there. Mm, absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things that I've noticed in our community in dentistry and medicine, and I think you and I have had this discussion before, Shannon, is we tend to not spend money on ourselves. So, a lot of the things that we spend money on are for our kids,
Right.
for our patients, for our community, for other people. And many people have a challenge of spending money on themselves unless it has a very specific purpose beyond just making themselves feel good.
Mhm.
When you notice that with somebody, what's actually going on under there?
Well, I mean, a lot of times, that's that old adage, like you have to, when you're on an airplane and you're sitting in the exit row and they say to put the mask on yourself first. And it really is, you can't pour from an empty cup. So we need to pour into ourselves and invest back into ourselves. And I think what you were saying earlier about $100 meaning different things in different parts of your life, I think a lot of it has to do with self-worth as well, and
Mm,
and the value that we place in ourselves. And we just have to know that our worth is immeasurable. It's immeasurable. And one of the biggest investments we can do is investing into ourselves, because then we ultimately, that ends up creating a ripple effect and affecting our employees, our children,
mm,
you know. Another thing that women, as a headwind that we have to face, is the gender pay gap, right? So not only are we out of our careers more, oftentimes more than men, but there's a gender pay gap, and I think a lot of that is related to that self-worth, and really demanding that from ourselves. Whether if you're an employee negotiating for raises, if you're an entrepreneur charging what you're worth, like really charging what you're worth. I mean, that's something I struggle with too. It's different. We're programmed and we're rewarded for giving a lot away, right? And I think that we have to really make that shift and charge what we're worth. It's it's huge.
Isn't that so interesting that we can get so fired up about that gender pay gap and the glass ceiling? And
Mhm.
sometimes we perpetuate it ourselves
Yeah.
by
Right.
not charging what we're worth or
Right.
not giving ourselves the income or the money or paying ourselves first. We're actually perpetuating that gender gap.
Right, right. Because I, for one, I really like to take radical responsibility and say that I'm in charge of my life, the way my life works. It just works better for me to have that belief. So I can't believe in glass ceilings or outside oppression. I have to see what is it in me that I can make the change. And so that's what spurs me on when I negotiate and when I set a price for my value. And when we see another woman charging what she's worth, give her kudos for that,
Yeah.
and don't expect this underlying economy where women are just bartering and trading and charging less. No, really demand that of ourselves and each other, expect that of ourselves and each other.
Oh, I love that. And I think that that's another superpower that women can tap into is that kind of, and you mentioned this in the beginning when you were talking about the difference between working with men and women is that we do collaborate. We
Yeah,
do form community and understand the value and the strength, the power in community. So tapping into that superpower to support one another and lift each other up even more. I love
right.
that concept, especially when it's around money, because money tends to be that taboo subject that we don't bring into the
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, it is. It's one of the biggest taboos. Like we can talk about sex, we can talk about death, but money is one of those things where it's really hard to get vulnerable about that. But when we do, that allows the people around us to get vulnerable and we can start sharing experiences. I mean, if you think about it, like the way that um, financial planning is traditionally taught, it's very linear, right?
Mhm.
But women, we love to learn in circles and collaborate and do workshops and things like that. And we could bring money into that type of conversation. Think of all the wealth that we would have because we get the collective wisdom of each other, right?
Mm.
But in order to do that, we have to have an environment of just unconditional acceptance, right? For ourselves. And it has to start with ourselves, that outrageous openness. Because what you're really trying to do is befriend your subconscious. What
Mm.
motivates us is not so much our conscious mind, which is just the tip of the iceberg, but all these unconscious and subconscious factors that are going on and driving us. And that's what you have to befriend. That if you have a really narrow mind and you're like, oh, that's bad, not this, not that, you're going to shut that down. You're going to shut down so much of your personal power. And that's the personal power that we need. That is our true wealth that we
Mhm.
need to do to be generating.
Mhm. Beautiful. And what you're talking about is self-judgment.
Right, right. Yeah,
Mm. Mm.
right. All it does is it just shuts you down. It just shuts down that the personal power.
And I think incorporated into that, especially when it comes to talking about money, is a lot of compassion and forgiveness.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I think we allow ourselves it's so fascinating, Shannon, because we allow ourselves to learn and grow when it comes to I don't know, calculus, like,
Mhm.
okay, I can develop my understanding of mathematics as I grow older and then I shift to new perspectives and I learn more, even in terms of, running a business or reading or learning how to play an instrument. But it's interesting when it comes to money, we tend to put a cap on our own emotional development when it comes to money. And really, we can perpetuate that throughout our lifetime, that kind of constant, um, reflection on things that we have or haven't done in the past, the way we've managed money, the
Mhm.
energetic relationship we've had with money. And really, there's room for so much development and maturing as we grow older that we don't allow ourselves.
Right, right. I think maturing is such a key word. If you can see it as growth and a journey, that maybe that can take away some of the shame and blame. Like
Yes.
you didn't know, you didn't know before, and that's okay, right? We come into this world, right? Just kind of these bodies that have evolved a long time ago, right? We didn't evolve for this economic system. We didn't know. I was reading something the other day, like the 401k, and I don't have the dates right, but the 401k was just invented like 30, 40 years ago. That's it. So
Wow.
this concept that we should have been born or at age 25 knowing that we were to save for retirement, it's just not realistic. I mean, some people did, but others of us, we have to learn this as adults. So as adult learners, we have to have some self-compassion and some patience with ourselves as we learn this very new landscape of financial planning.
And it's changing all the time.
Oh, it's changing all the time. Every year, new regulations come out, and you can do this and you can't do that. And then the economic system is changing all the time. So right now we're in a really high inflationary period. And what does that mean? What does that feel like in your
Mm.
body? Like when you go to the gas pump or when you're buying a bag of groceries, what does that feel like for you? What does it feel like for you when your fuel costs go up? For a lot of people, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't, you're at that level of wealth that doesn't matter. But then you can know that there's opportunities there too. If interest rates are high, then what are you getting on your savings? Are you still paying those, 2009? Are you still receiving those 2019 0% interest rates, or have you moved to like a higher yielding savings account that is
Mm.
available now? So there's opportunities as well to look at.
Oh, so cool. So cool. I love what you do, Shannon. I just think it's so fascinating. And I love that you incorporate the therapy part of money mindset and the understanding of the deeper subconscious, what's happening in the subconscious. And then really, I've seen you in action in your coaching. You're miraculous in terms of helping your clients to just identify what is actually going on in their perspective and in their mindset, and then giving them a gentle perspective shift to just open them up to having new opportunity and new possibility. You really are gifted in that way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I
It
love what I do too. I love
You
what
can
I
tell. And I know you have a phenomenal workshop coming up that I would love to welcome my audience to in case they are interested in it. Tell us a little bit about this program that you have coming up.
Yeah, so I have the Reset Your Money Mindset workshop, and you can find out more and register at www.resetyourmoneymindset.com. And this is a full day workshop. Starts at 7 a.m. Pacific time, 10 a.m. Eastern, and it goes all day. And we'll discuss more about those money scripts. And I have some exercises to uncover what's most important to you and really get deep. It's a wonderful time. The participants have really felt a lot of growth through it. And it's a closed, safe space where we can get vulnerable and really open up and share. And then throughout the day, we'll create a powerful vision based on your values and your dreams. We'll talk about values-based budgeting, which is my favorite approach to budgeting because
I
it's a
love that.
judgment-free zone.
Mm.
And we'll talk a little bit about knowledge. Like I'll talk about the different types of savings accounts and what you can do to optimize your money during this particular time. And then finally, we'll end with a 1-year action plan because it's great to feel good. It's great to do all these things, but we need an action plan. We need a plan of action to make your dreams a reality. So it's a wonderful workshop. I hope you'll join me. It's going to be Saturday, May 20th.
Very cool. And are there any contingencies on who this is for? I mean, is there any limit on income or tax bracket or
No,
who can
no.
join you in this discussion?
No, anyone can join me if you really want to have a mindset shift around your money. That's the important factor there.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for everything you do, Shannon. I'm just so in awe of the beautiful work that you do. And I'm so grateful to know you myself.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Likewise, and thank you for helping me to elevate this conversation around money because
Yeah.
it's so important for us to talk about this together.
Oh, absolutely. Especially when we can stimulate it in the community and
Yeah,
allow other people to kind of debunk that shame and guilt of talking about
right.
money and give
Right.
us an opportunity to share.
Yes, definitely.
Really
Definitely.
cool.
Yeah.
Before you leave us today, I need to ask you the question that I ask of all my guests. And I know we asked it of you last time, but I'm going to ask it again. What in this season of your life, what is your definition of happiness?
Oh, okay. So, and this is a little bit of a story, but this last weekend I got to do yoga with my 12-year-old daughter,
Mm.
and it was just the most heart-opening experience for me. So to be able to share something that is important to me and that is a great, has been such a important part of my lifestyle with the next generation, oh my gosh, that's happiness.
So cool, so cool. Ah, so cool. Thank you so much, Shannon, for joining us. And thank you to all of you for joining us in this conversation today. And I hope this sparked a little bit of insight for you in terms of maybe some of the money stories you've been carrying around with you. And I highly recommend this workshop that as I said, I've seen Shannon in action and she is excellent. I know you're going to walk away with some phenomenal insight that really is tailored to your specific situation. And as always, my friends, remember when you feel good, that's when you can do good. Bye bye.